I had hoped that you might have escaped Hong Kong. Escaped its influences. Its problems.
It seems that the evidence against you has failed to appear. You must be a very dangerous man, Wei Shen. That is exactly what we want people to think.
So, Whiskey Breath, Wazuk, I'm sure you're wondering why I've called you here today.
Oh, is this one of your weird clubs?
Yes. No, this
Awesome.
I'm just talking about Sleeping Dogs. These guys have the worst nicknames of any gangsters in the entire world.
Dog Eyes?
Big Smile Lee. What's the woman's name? It's like,
Oh, Broken Nose Jang.
Broken Nose Jang. Like, yeah, every single one of these guys has this horrible nickname that obviously refers to some kind of deformity. Pockmark, they call one of the guys in this game.
Oh, I know, because of his bad skin. I would be like, okay, guys, if you call me that one more time, I'm joining another gang. Seriously.
I don't know if these were actual nicknames. It's just like nasty names you just call these people behind their backs. I mean, I don't remember that your main character calling the woman Broken Nose Zhang, whatever her name is, like to her face.
She does. He does that. Like when he first meets her, he's like, "Zhang, Broken Nose Zhang. Oh, hey, it's nice to meet you. You're so awesome. I like you."
How does she give herself that name? That is nasty. That Jesus.
So, well,
then,
anyway,
what was it? Old Spicy Crab?
Yeah, Old Spicy Crab's the best. That guy, I'll hang out with that guy any day. He's fucking weird and creepy.
I know. Oh, man. He's like, hey, why don't you come back to my apartment? No.
Yeah. Isn't it one point where he's like, I find you very attractive? And you're like, what? And he's like, those are really nice trees over there. You're like,
oh, that's right.
No, yeah, he said like
coming on you at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says, wow, you're pretty and talented. What? I said you're pretty talented.
Oh, that's right.
All right, so let's put the creepy to the side for a second and get a little introduction going on here. Hello, everybody. We're talking about Sleeping Dogs today. I am Professor Jeff, and I have with me Mr. Jason Murphy.
Howdy.
And Mr. Nick Hodges.
Hey,
And we're going to talk about this Grand Theft Auto clone and whether you should play it or not. I don't know. Maybe that's a little bit harsh. What do you guys think?
What part is harsh? Calling it a Grand Theft Auto clone? Because that is on the nose.
Okay. I mean, I felt like when I was playing this game that part of me, I was playing it. I was like, yeah, I really like this. I really like this. And then after I got done playing it, I started wondering, was it really like a super high quality game, or am I just jonesing so hard for GTA 5 that I will literally play anything that lets me drive around and run over pedestrians and punch people in the face, grab people off the street and throw them into fountains and air conditioning vents and things like that.
I think that those two things are not mutually exclusive. I think you are jonesing for a new GTA, and this is a quality game.
Okay. Well, Nick, what do you think?
Calling a sandbox game, a GTA clone is a bit unfair. I mean, like, a lot of these games coming out have similarities to the GTA because it's been inspired by them. But what's important is, how does this stand out? Like, what qualities does it have that make it stand out from the other GTA games or any other?
It's Chinese. The end.
No. It's got the one thing it has going for it is really the martial arts. Like, I can't think of many other sandbox games which allowed you to have this fighting mechanic in it.
Well, I
apart
tell you what,
from
they
true
should
crime
do that with like Batman or something. That would be cool.
Well, I tell you what.
I mean, apart from True Crime New York, like, you were able to have like different fighting styles and have martial arts in it.
Whoa. GTA San Andreas had plenty of different fighting styles to it. I mean,
like the dildo foo.
But anyway, I tell you what, let's back up for a second. Let's start at the beginning where we should normally be starting. Sleeping Dogs is a story about this cop played by Leonardo DiCaprio who gets in with the mob, and he's a double agent, but he's in too deep, and you don't know where's. Wait, it's not Leonardo DiCaprio.
That's Departed, right?
I have a hard time telling the two apart.
It's actually surprising enough that Departed was based on a Hong Kong movie called Internal Affairs. So
Infernal
see why I
Affairs.
was it Infernal Affairs? My bad.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for correcting me.
Which, I mean, I'm not going to say that I'm not going to count it really against this game, but this game takes an awful lot of cues from that movie.
This game takes an awful lot of cues from everything.
Well, that's true.
I mean, it's okay. The structure is Grand Theft Auto. The story is like The Departed / Infernal Affairs. The fighting is from Arkham City, Arkham Asylum.
Yep.
Some of the driving is from The Wheelman. It's really just this Frankenstein of a game.
Which is interesting that it actually came out the same week as Darksiders 2, since Darksiders kind of does the same thing of taking the best parts of other games and then mixing them up into their own kind of style. So, yeah, I mean, just as in Grand Theft Auto, this game has you doing, you drive to individual mission indicators, and the meat of the game is kind of doing missions for either the triads or for this police woman who you have contact with over the course of the game. So you kind of do some like investigation stuff, then you do a bunch of gangster stuff. I really felt like, it's just as far as the overall story goes, that so much of just the straight up storyline was really, 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 like you said, by the numbers, to the point where I was kind of half interested in it, but I was way more interested in breaking dudes' arms and shoving them into wood chippers than I was really about the moral struggle of the main character. Because
yeah, it's like, oh, am I going to betray the Ooh, I could shove somebody's face into that fan.
Exactly.
I'm really easily distracted by carnage.
Easily distracted, but you're just driving down the street, and every 2 blocks there's some guy that's like, hey, wait, come here for a second. Can you help me with this? Can you drive my car off the bridge? Can you beat up my ex-girlfriend? Can you do a motorcycle race for me? Can you jump all over the place because I'm on acid? I mean, literally, everybody in this town knows your character, and they all want him to do something for them. And I don't know. At a certain point, I wish the main character would just be like, man, fuck you. I'm busy. I'm trying to take down this criminal empire and or rule this criminal empire.
Actually, he did say that, but it was me saying that.
Oh.
And if I saw one of those jackasses, hey, Wei Shen, it was just like I would drive by them and do that awesome open the car door when you drive by and take the bitch out. That's probably not fatal. Actually, maybe it was. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention.
Dude, you kill people at the drop of a hat in this game. I can't count the number of pedestrians that I clipped in the middle of a mission, and it was like, pedestrian brutally murdered, -40 from your cop score.
Dude, they're made of paper mache.
Yeah, like, come on, dude. I just tapped him with my car door doing like 120 down the wrong side of the road. It's not a big deal.
I killed this woman just by clipping her with a little scooter. I was just going down some stairs. I'm like, oh, come on. This is really ridiculous how fragile these people are.
Dude, it's crazy. You body slam an old woman like just twice and she'll die. She will die.
And trust me, Jason has body slammed his share of old women. He knows how many it takes. It's usually what you were telling me, like 4? Usually 5? I mean,
it depends on like regional, like where they're from, if they do or don't have emphysema, if there's a walker in play. But most, that's the only people I'll body slam, especially when they hit like 80 and they start shrinking and shriveling, because I don't want to fuck my back up anymore. And they're slow, and they usually don't put up much of a fight. But when you do body slam an old woman, you got to make sure that the colostomy bag doesn't burst. So step away quickly,
and always lift with your knees. What the last thing you want to do is throw your back out.
Exactly. But yeah, it's so easy to kill the people who don't need killing.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of curious though, Nick. What did you think about the story of the game? About just the overall story?
Well, I thought it was quite interesting at some parts, but overall it is a wee bit clunky. Like, there's a twist ending that, like, I predicted within the first 10 to 15 minutes of the game.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's, like, taken from so many undercover cop movies or television shows that you know where it's eventually going to progress. Of course, I'm not going to spoil anything.
Yeah,
but
I felt like they should have given you a bingo card with the game, and you could have just been like, all right, this guy's going to die. This is going to betray me. This guy's going to die. I'm going to have to brutally murder this guy. And
to be fair, Grand Theft Auto's the same way.
Well, yeah,
it does it in a humorous way, like it's very tongue-in-cheek. Well, this game is definitely attempting to be serious. I mean, there are some humorous moments in it.
That's a very good point.
Well,
yeah.
I think that I mean, like when you compare this to Grand Theft Auto 4, I thought that Grand Theft Auto 4 had a much more adult story than something like this game, because it was about this man who's seen horrors and he's coming back and he's kind of forced back into crime. I thought there was a little bit more depth to Nico Bellic than there was to Wei Shen. The thing that really kept me interested through this game all the way to the end was very much not the story, and it was much more that awesome page full of experience points upgrade trees that you were able to do.
Yeah, but you're never able to finish them because there's so many. I mean, I'm all up
them.
for like. Well, okay, fine, because you did all the side missions. I was just trying to finish the game on time to review it, but
Ditto.
Yeah. But I mean, I feel like, in my personal opinion, this game could have benefited from you being able to make choices, like whether to make a choice to keep your cover or to, let's say, protect someone's life and inform the police about something that's going to happen. While this is very linear, you just stay strict to the confines of the rules of the story. So you can't decide whether to do this or that.
You do an awful lot of like blatantly beating up criminals and doing cop stuff in the middle of the day, and it really doesn't ever seem to get back to the people that you're working with. That you ran up to this corner and beat all these dudes up, and then the next day they all got arrested by the cops, like, you know, within 12 hours of you coming in and beating the shit out of like 30 guys on the street corner.
If you want to discuss the morality of this game, like, this is one side mission where you're supposed to be helping the police track down this serial killer who's killing gangsters, and they're like, this is terrible because nobody cares about these gangsters being killed. And I'm just like, I killed like 100 people yesterday. Like, why are the police taking such a interest in this?
Yeah, I ran 17 cars off the road and at least killed 150 pedestrians in the course of like 20 minutes. And yet I'm going back to my captain like, yeah, so what's next? Yeah, it got a little messy, Cap. I'm not going to lie. Got a little out of control, but, you know, got to break a few eggs.
In that vein, that actually does kind of lead well into just describing that over the course of the game, when you do a lot of the main missions in the game, you will have a score. It's kind of a 3-point score that is based on, you have a cop score and you have a triad score. And your triad score is based, it starts at 0 and goes up based on how much kind of destruction and damage and brutality you dole out, and the cop score starts at 100% and goes down based on how much property damage and innocent pedestrians and stuff that you mangle over the course of trying to get your mission done. And then when you get done, those two scores get factored into these two separate trees of cop upgrades and gangster upgrades that you're able to. It's real linear. There's 10 on each tree, and you basically get to pick either, you know, the top or the bottom. You get to pick one special thing or another. So, I mean, while you're playing the game, I feel like that at least gives you a little bit of an incentive to kind of try to skirt the line. Like, it doesn't ever tie into the story, but at least in the early days when you're trying to upgrade those trees, like, I find myself trying to drive a little bit more carefully than I would have otherwise, just so that I could get my cop score all maxed out. Yeah,
but there are no consequences for losing the cop score. I mean, like, you may not be able to get, like, an upgrade. But sorry to keep referencing true crime. After all, like, Sleeping Dogs was originally meant to be a true crime game, just set in Hong Kong. In True Crime New York, if you kept just crossing the line of being a corrupt cop, then you'd get busted down to being a patrol officer, and you have to do a lot of street crime in order to become a detective again.
God, I would have gotten busted down to like Cub Scout.
Oh, it's a lot of fun, but like in this, like, it never really affected me. Like, there was no. I didn't feel the need to like try to keep my cop score up. I mean, I just did it because I was just playing the story.
Well, I didn't feel the need to even worry about the upgrades at all on either side. I mean, you can. I know. You know, based on your actions and everything, you can get triad points or cop points, or you can. Upgrade your clothes that'll give you like more damage or more defense, or you can turn in the statues that you find around town to the kung fu shop, and you can trade these in. It's like, here, I brought you this statue of Splinter from the Ninja Turtles. Teach me the five finger death palm trick or whatever. And I went through the whole game without really worrying about any of that shit. I think I had points to turn in when I finished the game, and I was like, oh yeah, well, whatever.
But you guys,
I got problems with that Kung Fu shop. Just quickly, like you're supposed to collect these statues, these jade statues throughout the city, and when you return them to the Kung Fu martial arts center, then the teacher will say, "What would you like to learn today?" And you'll say, "I'd like to learn how to break someone's arm." "Well, please feel free to use one of my students here." They're like, "Wait, what?" And you just beat the shit out of them, like you got blood like splattering all over the floor. I felt really bad for them.
Those poor bastards. They're like, "This is the worst dojo ever. I'm switching back to Cobra Kai."
But you guys are missing the best part about the cop score upgrades, and that's once you get all the way to the top of the cop score upgrades, you can drive over as many old ladies as you want, because once you've reached the maximum upgrade potential, there's no reason to ever be anything but the biggest dick in Hong Kong ever again. There's literally, at that point, no consequences. Plus, you can walk up to any cop car and pull a shotgun out of the trunk and just start mowing people on the street down.
Okay, that last part, that's pretty cool, but...
That's cool, yeah. But there's nothing stopping me from doing that in the first place. I was doing that anyway.
Exactly.
Well, but you get all those awesome upgrades, and they let you do all kinds of awesome stuff. Like, if you ignored the upgrades, you'd never be able to, in a fight, just, like, snap that dude's leg to the point where all the guys around you in the fight go, "Oh, shit!" and, like, back up and are stunned for a second.
You make a compelling point with that, but that pales in comparison to grabbing someone, throwing them into the chassis of a car, and then dropping the engine block on them. Which
I gotta admit,
is an environmental attack. There are lots of those. It's really cool. But there's really no penalty to being a complete dickhole and running amok in Hong Kong. You do that in GTA, they're going to have your balls in a vice, like, quick. With this, like, a couple of cops show up, you run them off the road, and then, whatever, you're fine.
Yeah,
these are the worst cops ever. They just give up so easily.
I think the only time that I ever had a problem with them was I was on a mission where I got essentially their version of 3 stars, and the only reason I couldn't get away from them was because they put me in a shitty car, and I couldn't pursuit force jump to a better car because there was some jerk riding with me, and of course, I would just end up leaving him behind, like, later, sucker!
Yeah, screw you, I'm out!
They'd be like, "Oh, your mission has failed because you left Jerkwad behind," and he got...
Was it the chicken truck?
It might have been.
Okay.
It might very well have been. So, yeah, I guess it's good a segue as any to talk about a little bit of the specifics of the combat, because the hand-to-hand combat is really kind of where the main action of this game is. It's very inspired by Batman. It's got very much a kind of 10 guys surround you and attack you, 1 or 2 at a time. It's got a counter. Essentially, guys will flash, and you hit a button, and you can counter their moves. You've got a bunch of special moves that you can learn by turning this stuff in. And I felt, by and large, like I like that this style of combat is starting to get a little bit more out there. Like, you're starting to see it in other video games. I did feel you can't help but make the comparison to Batman, and that this wasn't quite as tight as Batman's combat was. Like, it generally just felt like loose, like any open world game is kind of loose with all of its systems. Like, it was trying to ape it.
Well, that said, I mean, the combat in this is actually better than most open world games, I thought. It's a hell of a lot better than any of the GTA games.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but it still wasn't quite as refined as Batman.
Yeah, it's still a bit stiff. Like, when you're playing Batman, you don't even think about what buttons to press. Like, it's just so smooth with the way you're just taking out many guys at once. Whereas this, you're just focusing on one guy, and the other guys are patiently waiting for their turn to hit you most of the time. So, but I mean, it's still good, but it's not quite there from being like, holy shit, I'm kick-ass in this.
Well, plus, in Batman, they had a tendency to really make you feel every hit. So when Batman, like, is hitting a guy, man, that looks like it fucking hurts. But a lot of these guys, like, and maybe it's just one of the problems with the enemy archetypes is when you're fighting a lot of these guys, there will be some guys that will just block every single hit that you throw at them, and you have to grab them. There'll be some guys that you can't grab, that you have to just hit with strikes. And a lot of times it felt like, when you were fighting the regular thugs where you could either grab them or hit them or counter or do whatever, that felt really good. But then when you got in these situations where this guy's got a knife, so you can't grab him. Like every time you try to grab, he just shoves you off. Or this guy, is going to block every single hit that you're doing. So you end up having to do the same kind of 3 or 4 moves over and over and over again on them. It just felt a little bit clunkier than Batman.
Jeff,
Yeah.
Chinese people can't hit as hard as Batman. It's science. Okay?
Well, it's funny because the reason I bring this up is because this game wants you to have fistfights with people so much.
Yeah.
So much that when you get a gun in this game at random intervals, the game just takes your fucking gun away.
Just gone.
Yeah. No more gun.
You can have an arsenal. Gone.
Yeah. And when you do end up in gun shooting segments, like you have a machine gun, well, you can't just roll down the street with a machine gun because you'll get. Well, you can, but it's a little bit lame. So the gunplay in this game, I felt, was overall kind of one of the weaker aspects of it. I mean,
and it was really easy.
It's absolute shit, the gunplay. What are you guys on about? Like, the thing I hate the most is the cover mechanic. It's got the worst cover mechanic I have played recently. Whereas most games, you go up against the wall and you press let's say the L1 button on the PlayStation, and you automatically just grip to any surface. Whereas in this, you have to look at a cover in a certain way for the suggestion, the L1 button symbol to pop up before you can actually take cover. So whilst I'm being shot at, I'm trying to position myself correctly in order for that symbol to appear, and these guys are shooting the shit out of me. So that was really pissing off.
Jason, you have a problem with that?
With the cover mechanic?
Yeah.
I do, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. No, I liked that there was a cover mechanic, but it wasn't quite as effective as it should have been. Because sometimes I would run up on something. I would actually run up to something, and it could be user error, but I would run up to a cover and then just stand there. It's like, no, crouch, motherfucker, crouch.
Huh.
Yeah, that happened to me a lot of times, where your character's just standing and he's not responding to the commands. You have to wait for that symbol to appear.
I don't know. Maybe I was huffing too much gasoline, or you guys weren't huffing enough gasoline, but I didn't really have much of a problem with that. I just kind of felt like they give you so many opportunities to have like kind of spicy flavor moments in the hand-to-hand combat with just different things you can do, and you get one move with the shooting, which is slide over cover in slow motion and shoot a bunch of guys, and then go to the next bit of cover and do the same thing over and over again. I will say, though, that what makes up for that is those freaking sequences when you're driving and you get to shoot people's tires out in slow motion and see their cars flip over and explode into giant fireballs, because that shit was awesome. Like,
that was rad.
I played an entire game of that. It was so good.
I completely agree with you. That was very cinematic. It was just like from one of these Hong Kong action movies. That was very cool.
And it was also cool, the fact that whenever you went to go zoom in, the game would slow down, so it wasn't trying to make you drive and aim and shoot and do all this stuff all in real time at 180 miles an hour all at the same time. Like, it was giving you a little bit of a break in order to kind of get this stuff done. And I really appreciate that. In fact, the game was like that in a lot of aspects. Like, once you go out with there's some women in the game that you can date, and whenever you date one of them, you have a successful date with them, it'll just put stuff on your map. It'll be like, here's all the jade statues. They're just marked on your map from here on out. You just go find them. Or here's all of the little health shrines that you need to up your health. Just go get them. It's like the game gives you this giant tree of upgrades, and then if you're playing through these little side missions, it gives you real tangible benefits to doing them, so that you're not just spending hours and hours wandering around looking for shit. It's on your map. You just have to find out, you have to roll up to it and get it. And I really appreciate that in a game like this, because it could be a dick and just be like, there are 1,000 birds. Find them all and you will get 20% more health. It's like, no, fuck you, man.
One thing that kind of disappointed me, and this wasn't a huge thing, but the graphics. This does not look like something that was released in, the latter half of 2012.
Yeah.
Especially with, and I know we keep going back to that, why aren't you more like your brother? But while I was playing this, Rockstar was leaking shots of Grand Theft Auto 5.
Oh, yeah.
And I would just go back to Sleeping Dogs and just be like, oh, you look like shit.
Well, hold on
You're
a second.
disgusting. You disgust me.
Yeah, but you can't be that unfair to it, because we all know that it was originally cancelled. From Activision originally cancelled this, and then Square Enix had to pick it up again, and of course rename it. So it was held off for a long time. So it was supposed to be released. Was it last year or earlier this year, something like that?
Yeah, I'm not really inclined to give the game much slack based on having to do the publisher merry-go-round ping pong thing. I mean, the thing is that even if this game had come out last year, there were still parts of it that, the frame rate in this game, especially in the cutscenes, to me is actually kind of distracting. It's a little bit choppy when they go into the cutscenes to the point where you're like, ugh. And there were so many times where you'll be walking down the street, and I felt like they did a kind of a bad job of and it wasn't all the shops in the game, because there are plenty of shops in the game that look fine, but there were some of the shops in the game where they basically just painted a window that had some kind of forced perspective of a shop, and you go and look at it, and you're just like, this is some fucking Wile E. Coyote shit, man.
Well, it's like the old late 90s PC FPS where the arena or whatever you were in was inside this cube.
Yeah.
And if you pulled back far enough, you could see the walls, and that they were all just basically like JPEGs.
Yeah, and the skybox and everything. Which is not to say that when you're driving through the world and you're doing stuff, it's fine. The thing is that there's just a lot of sequences in the game that I found myself running on foot, especially because they have, this is one of the systems of this game that I really did not care for. They have this system of, you can go into a store and get a glass of tea or an energy drink or a pork bun or ice cream or a sensual massage, and it gives you a time-limited buff. The problem with this is that, a lot like they do with the gun, it seems like at fairly random points during the course of the game, it just takes that shit away from you.
Yeah.
It just runs out the timer, and you're like, oh, well, now I've got to go to these fucking 7 shops again and get another ice cream and a back rub and a fucking tea and,
Back rub. Yeah, that's what was going on.
Well, that was weird, because when you start the game and you go to the massage place, this is this woman, scantily clad woman who's like, hey baby, you want a massage? And you go in and she comes back out and she's making all these references. Later on, when you get to the upscale districts, it's just this old dude, and he's like, you need to relax? And you're like, yeah. And so then you two go in the back and you come out and you're rubbing your shoulders and you got that buff. It's like, I don't want to know what you were doing back there, Way.
He's like,
Jeff,
I
you're
think
disgusting me.
Yeah,
really.
You should go back to the grimy part of town. It was a lot better there. I mean, not as clean, but a lot better.
But you don't have some old dude giving you a rusty trombone.
So let's see. I got one more thing I want to talk about that I didn't like with this game, but I want to say something good first, because this was one of those games where I found myself just playing it and going I'm just going to do one more mission. It's time. It's 3:00 in the morning. I'm just going to do one more mission. Then while you're driving there, you get 4 more side missions. You're just like, oh shit! Now it's 5 a.m. and I tell you what, Nick, what was one of the things you really liked about the game?
I like the fact that it didn't feel repetitive. There was a lot of variety to the missions. I mean, there was a standard shooting, fighting, and chasing. Those are the 3 modes. But there's loads of little bits in between. When you're playing as a cop, you're trying to follow someone on foot, and you're in disguise, and you're taking pictures. I thought that was really cool and really interesting. So I felt like it's a decent game. I just don't think it took as many chances as it should have. It could have been so much better with the premise that it had.
Okay. Well, the other thing that I kind of wanted to briefly mention was there were a lot of mini games in this game.
A ton.
So many mini games, and some of them like there's the one where you have to crack a safe, where you essentially have to turn the knob, and you've got this little meter that shows you when you've turned the tumbler the right way, and if you turn it too far, you have to keep going.
Picking locks and hacking camera terminals. And
I liked a lot of those, but some of them seemed a little sloppy, and specifically the one that always stood out to me is just like, why is this even here? Is there's a system in the game where you are essentially, I'm making quotey fingers here, fast talk your way past somebody.
No.
Which essentially just means hit Y or triangle and you win. Like, there is no timing. It's not like, you know, they don't ever switch that button up to a different button. You basically are just talking with this guy. You hit the same button and you go, oh, my baby's on fire. You got to let me through here. And the guy's like, okay. You always win.
Did you ever fail any of those?
No, never.
Me neither.
It was the easiest mini game ever. It was like playing Simon with just one big button on it. So yeah, kind of a mixed bag. But then I feel like that's kind of indicative about the whole game. Like, Hong Kong looks great. Frame rate was a little meh. The dialogue was very well acted, but the characters' expressions were, you know, they were very much Rockstar style characters where they're gesturing with their body language more than actually having an actual facial expression. If you got too close to certain things, they kind of looked a little muddy and messed up. But, you know, there were a lot of, like, smoke, fire, water effects, rain and stuff that sometimes the game just looked absolutely gorgeous, and sometimes it was just kind of, meh. And that was about it. So, I don't know. Anything else you guys feel like we need to bring up, or we want to give some ratings?
Let's do the ratings.
Yeah.
Ratings. All
Nick.
right. I give it a standard bargain bin. I mean, I definitely enjoyed it, and I'm not annoyed that I bought it. But I definitely don't think it was worth the full price in England of like 45 quid. Like, that's going a little steep. So, yeah.
Jason?
I actually thought there was a lot to do. I enjoyed the story, even though it was pretty rote. You know, I had a hell of a lot of fun with this game, and I really would like to go back and play some of the extra stuff. So I'm going to give it a full price.
Okay. I think I'm going to go with that as well. Just a regular old full price. It had a lot going on. We really didn't even mention that there was there was other stuff too. There's a lot going on in this game. There's really interesting radio that had some musical selections I haven't heard in years and years.
Yeah.
And, there was stuff like the karaoke mini game that had a whole bunch of kind of like top 40s or karaoke hits and stuff on it.
Crazy meat cleaver woman.
Yeah. Oh
yes.
God. Auntie whoever, she was the best. She's the best. I was hoping that she was going to be the leader of the triad by the time the game was over. It's like, no, put that old fat lady in charge, the one with the giant fucking knife.
She was scary.
Oh no, she would destroy the triads a lot faster than Wei Shen ever could. If she pissed her off. The voice actors, there was actually quite a lot of voice talent in this, like Tom Wilkinson, Emma Stone, and Lucy Liu. Really surprised me in the credits.
Yeah, a lot of those people, though, I mean, Tom Wilkinson kind of plays your police contact, but like Lucy Liu and Emma Stone, they kind of just walk in and walk out of the game. Like, they don't, I mean, at least not that I could see. I went on 2 dates with the Emma Stone character, and I was never able to call her up again. I couldn't even identify who Lucy Liu was in that game, but...
Emma Stone... How you couldn't even get her on the Amazing Spider-Man video game, yet somehow she's in this.
That's a good point.
We're cops. There are rules.
You're a cop. I am an undercover cop. The rules are different.